Hi everyone! So if you've not seen, I've just gone on ITV this morning with TV psychologist Emma Kenny, who's also resident psychologist at channelmom.com.
My favourite job in the world.
Yeah, and we've been talking about anxiety today, and especially maternal mental health, as they showed some of my candid vlogs of when I was having an anxiety attack. But I just wanted to do a live and grab this opportunity with Emma, who's super duper busy, because Emma was saying some really interesting things. So what would your big message be to people out there? I know it's
I mean, the main message that I'd have out there, full stop, is just that everybody...
Did you put your charger, Emma? Sorry.
When you come outside...
We're just having budget issues.
Studio, it's literally... You know when you walk off set, there's the shelves where some sound stuff, it's just on the shelf there. Right. Sorry, I'm sorry. Do you want me to come? There you go. That's the reality of live TV.
Yeah. Normally it's me leaving
I've
stuff,
left my charger somewhere and I should just go and get it, but they're doing it, and that means that I'll probably have to keep this driver waiting longer than if I'd just gone and done it myself. So also advice, go and do things yourself, get a woman to do the job.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to mental health and well-being, the main thing is that literally everyone in their life struggles with mental health issues. So there is not one human being who does not at some point in their experience go through some kind of mental health concern, even if it's just the fact that you lose a parent or you lose someone close to you or you go through a miscarriage. Those incidents cause a breakdown in your mental health. You would have to be made of rock otherwise. So I think that normalization is what we need. Instead of it being, I kind of get a bit carried away with the whole issue around mental health being distinct from physical, because I think that's one of our big issues. If you start talking about...
Is this your charger?
This is it. Look, Matthew's
got the
doing
charger.
live.
He's got the charger.
I
What
take
are we on?
I take it all
Instagram
back.
Live?
On YouTube.
Oh, can you do live on YouTube?
Yeah,
Well, I
do
can't.
live,
This lady knows how to. Good old Sophie, she's amazing.
How amazing did she do today, guys?
Thank you. And you guys, honestly,
Matthew's
this
like,
morning
he's like
have been so
Mr.
lovely.
Mr. this morning.
That's very kind of you.
He's wonderful.
Have
Watch
a lovely-
out for him, because he's going to be a presenter. So,
Little plug there. Thanks, Emma.
pleasure. It's true.
Have a good day. Have a good day.
Take care,
Thank you
gorgeous,
so
you're a
much.
legend. Did you see
Sorted
that? That was
out
like
the
in
charger.
real life action.
That's why I
real
love
life
live.
action. Yeah. So yeah, one of the biggest messages I've got is that I kind of struggle with the whole mental physical health divide. Now I know that we need to have a distinct concern, because when you say mental health, people kind of get that it's not just about, you know, something to do with your physical being. It can be about your emotional experience. But the truth is, you know, your leg goes wrong, you get it treated. Your head goes wrong, you get it treated. Why we have to have this distinct issue? Like, because people, I think, mentally feel that if they say I've got an issue with my mental health, people are going to challenge them or question them or think that there's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong. The brain is an organ. That's it. You know, I am yet to meet somebody, if they had a kidney infection, I'm yet to meet somebody who'd be like, it's cool, I'm just going to struggle with that and be in agony and really get myself in a mess. You'd be straight to the doctors.
Yeah.
So approaching mental health in such a way alleviates the worry of discussing it. That would be my best advice, really.
And Channel Mum have done a survey.
I love
and
Channel Mum.
It shows that is it 85% of mums have some form of mental health problem.
Definitely. I mean, I don't even know why we have such low figures admitting it when it comes down on the NHS, for example. You'll look at some of the statistics and it'll say things like, you know, 1 in 10, 1 in 8. I know many women, and every single one of them will acknowledge that at some point they have had a struggle with some kind of mental health issue. And I think that the great thing about Channel Mum, full stop, and I'm a massive advocate of Channel Mum, and it was really nice on the programme today that they kept referencing Channel Mum, because I think that the more women who hear about it, the more it'll alert them to take action and join the support group. But I think what is great about Channel Mum is we seem to have an audience of women who are saying enough is enough. I'm just going to get real about my mental well-being and my physical well-being and being a mum. You know, mums go on to that support group and say, I'm struggling, and the admission in such numbers that lots of us have these issues just enables other people to join in. And I think one day we'll probably have 100% of mums admit that at some point they have had an issue with their mental health.
Yeah, and I think because there's so much pressure on us, I know we talk about it and it sounds a cliche, having it all and all of that, but there genuinely feels so much pressure on parents, you know, to earn a living, to stay at home, or to work at home, or nothing's ever good enough.
No,
That's
exactly.
what it feels
Nothing
like.
is ever good enough. And also, I was just saying to one of the callers then, if you caught it on this morning, somebody rang in and she was going on to the world. I appear like a perfect mother. I've got my own business. I seem to have it all together. I'm lovely to everyone, and I'm smiling, and actually I'm dying inside. And I was like, set the bar lower. And it wasn't me trying to be flippant. It's like, well, of course you're going to struggle with your mental health because you literally think you have to be perfect. And I think that women in an Instagram society, where I was actually writing a column on this the other day, because I try and get Channel Mum into quite a few of my columns in Closer so that it spreads the word, and I literally described that somehow these days you'll go online, particularly Insta, and there'll be some woman who looks like she literally gave birth 3 days ago. She's a size 0, she's holding a green smoothie whilst bound with a baby, and 6 others running around her looking effortlessly chic, and you're like, come on. I mean, I don't
They've
think
normally got nannies in the background.
I didn't wear clothes that either fitted or were worth more than £7 till my children were teenagers, because I was covered in their rubbish constantly. And the truth is that if we don't give those real explanations about what parents go through, and it's men as well, then we're doing a disservice to being human, let alone being parents.
Actually, something I'm going to write a blog on is, as you may know, I've got Chinese heritage, and over there, after giving birth, mothers are they get to stay inside for a month, and they're basically waited on for a month, because obviously childbirth is such a massive thing. They have somebody who helps them breastfeed, establish feeding, somebody who cooks for them and nourishes them, as the mother is seen as such a kind of prime importance. But now in this country, you go into hospital or home, but hospital you have 2 hours and you're kicked out, and you expect to go to Asda on your way home to pick up the tea, and it's just bonkers how we've created this kind of quick society. And I guess that's why whilst I find the clips horrid and ugly what I've put online, but that's why I wanted to show it, because I do run my own businesses and my blog and vlog and do all these things, but then mental health does not discriminate. Mental illness doesn't mean I've had bad past, but even now when things are good, I still get mentally ill.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I wanted to show the ugly side, because we kind of talk about it, but we don't always understand.
No, and also that talking about it just gives everybody else permission to do the same. And I just think that there seems to be a trend in modern day society to act like everything is surface and beautiful, when really within every human being there's discord, and that's what makes us human. I mean, I think that any mum and any dad, as I said, can relate to that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you just have that sense of dread because you just feel overwhelmed by what's in front of you. And it's recognizing that that is quite a common feeling, and the only way to kind of work through that is to just make tiny steps towards getting yourself addressed and readied, so to speak, for the day. And I think that what people do in our society, and this is a big problem and a big issue with cognition and the way we think, we overwhelm ourselves with what we have to do in the big picture. Nobody sits there and gets up in the morning and goes, right, what I need to do is spend 10 minutes just getting myself showered and then I'll take next step. We go, everything needs to be sorted. I need to have paid all those bills. I need to have organised my kids' social diary for the next month, and I need to make sure that I've been a friend to all those people I know that need help. And by that point, you're completely broken because you can't find the energy to do that when you're struggling just to get up. So my job with clients is to help people break things down into the really minuscule. And the reason I can do that is because I'm quite open about my own mental health and anxiety. And anxiety, I always say to people, is she's kind of my friend. I have to have her. She's going to be there forever. So I can either acknowledge her and say, we need to work together. We need to figure this out. But I think that what we're taught to do in our society a lot is to reject mental health. So instead of acknowledging that this is a part of who you are, we say, change it, get rid of it, avoid it, deny it. But you can't. And actually in doing so, I don't hear it. And if I'm not hearing it, I can't learn how to use it to my advantage. So anxiety used to stop me getting out of bed, but nowadays anxiety says, motivate yourself. So I motivate myself. Anxiety says, no, don't procrastinate. because you know what that will do. And I go, I'm going to get those lists in order. I'm going to make sure I do all of those things I said I'm going to do. So my anxiety is no longer my aggressor. My anxiety walks with me. She gets out of control sometimes, and she needs a gin and tonic.
Yeah,
She
that's
needs a
a
gin and
beautiful
tonic.
way of putting it.
But she's with
Yeah.
me, and I'm going to have her forever, so I may as well adapt to that. And so I think that the other message, and we don't often talk about it in mental health because we like to treat it, is, you know, you really can learn to be friends with the conditions that you think limit and disable you. And you said earlier on, for example, you had an eating disorder. Some of the work, my master's was on eating disorders. I really love the whole area of eating because I think you physicalize your sickness. You kind of starve yourself so that people can see you're visibly in pain, but then no one talks about it, which reinforces that you're almost invisible anyway. So you kind of go on that continuum. But if you teach an anorexic that anorexia is most passionate, dedicated, would die for her vision, those qualities make you somebody who, if you transfer all of that to health, well-being and success, you know, you're going to be a world beater.
And also I think it's about being assertive. Like, that's something I've learned. So normally days like today, I will push myself. I've always pushed myself, but I would have just come on somebody else's terms, pushed myself, and then if I'm brutally honest, I probably end up at night self-harming as a way of coping. I get that extreme, but like, I'm so much better at managing it now. So for example, it's hard for me to say this as I'm working class, but I asked to go on first class on a seat on my own because I struggle on trains and in train stations, and I literally had to plan out the journey in my head and walk through it in my head a number of times. So it wasn't actually the TV interview that was scaring me, it was the thought of going through the train station, sitting on the train. But actually, by being assertive and saying, okay, so I can function and I can do well, but I do need these things.
Yeah, and rehearsing. Rehearsing is a really big part. I was working with a girl yesterday who'd had post-traumatic stress disorder from the Manchester bombing, and we were talking about the fact that that has promoted some kind of social phobia. So rehearsing those intros when you meet people, it seems something that to most people would be ridiculous. Why do I need to hello, that's a nice top you're wearing, but that actually means that you are ready to engage, and also you don't engage, and it gives person. So what your anxiety management is, practice, rehearse. It gets better and it gets easier. Same with confidence, you know. Confidence is just a complete myth for most of us. Same with me, you know, you just put the mask on, act it, people reinforce that, and you go, well, I must be a bit confident, and then in the end it becomes easier. So all of that's absolutely true.
Yeah. And if people want to find out more about you and Channel Mum, where do they go?
Channel Mum is the thing. ChannelMum.com. Please do join the support group because I'm there. I train the mummy helpers. I'm always
can I
on the
become
forum.
one as well?
Yeah,
I want to become a mummy
exactly.
helper.
Well, yeah, we're going to be doing all of that stuff. And the main bit is just remind. And you said something really important earlier on. You said one of the things that I want is for other mums to take responsibility for other mums who might be struggling as well. So like, if you don't have mental health issues, if you think your life is great, that's brilliant. But notice when your friend is woman, this is a classic. Notice that girl on her own with her children coming out of the school gates, not talking to anyone, standing, so many people do, and walk past her. She's the one that needs you to go over and say, hey, how old is your kid? That's something you do every day of the week. For her, that could be life-changing. So remember those tiny little miracles of meaning, they change. It takes a village. It takes a village to village.
That react to them and look after them.
Yeah.
Then that's totally ruined. But that's not all negative. It's saying, look, we were to change something.
Absolutely.
Just by going, are you okay? Are you
Exactly.
like, I'm here. And that.
And do you know what? It's so tricky in happiness research. There are two things that say you live a long life. The first is that you surround yourself with people with good relationships. So make sure you get rid of any bad relationships. They kill you literally. In the short term sometimes, but in the long term definitely. And the other thing is social interaction. So aside and talking to the person at the shop, or the individual that you just see at the school gates that isn't necessarily a friend but you can say a quick hello to, that essentially it protects you from dying. You have to push yourself. You have to be your biggest cheerleader, and that involves taking risks, asking for help, knowing when things don't work, refusing to accept treatment until it works, and never allow yourself to let helplessness overrun, because if it overtakes you, then you lose joy in everything, and life, blink of an eye. If you got lucky enough to get here, then it's your duty to make sure that the life that you create for yourself is as glorious as it can be, and that comes from acknowledging all of the gifts and unique traits that you have. Every human has them, so just work hard on it.